So the next question I'd like to answer is, how come I chose to be a life coach? Well, this is a question I get asked quite a lot by my clients actually, is well, what made me a life coach? And for me, it was when I came across life coaching as a concept and as a job, I thought, wow, this is just exactly what I do, and there was almost there was no question whether I wanted to be one or not, because it seemed to fit in with all the things I was thinking about and doing. And about sort of 10-12 years ago, I came across the concept of life coaching, and it wasn't quite as well known back then as it was now, and it came across from America, as a lot of things around self-help and personal development do. And at the time, I was actually working in marketing, in branding, and I was helping companies understand how their brands could better relate to their consumers. So how could they get a better relationship? How could they own more unique positionings in their consumers' minds? How could a brand stretch and innovate? So I was actually doing a lot around understanding the psychology of consumers and the psychology of brands. And I really enjoyed that. However, the thing I was really interested in was the human behaviour behind why the consumers were buying that brand, not the other brand. Also behind the brand owners, the companies that own them, in how they made their decisions and how the internal politics of those companies worked. And I came across a couple of things at the same time. I came across something called neurolinguistic programming through one of the co-founders, Richard Bandler, and I studied this form of thinking about modelling excellent human performance. I also did some work around counselling, and I realised that actually what I wanted to do was to work with people to help them get more out of their lives. So I studied some neurolinguistic programming. I then realised that coaching was more about what I wanted to do than counselling, because it was more about the future and the solution. And I put those two things together. And I did some training and some studying, and then in 2002 I decided to leave my job and become a coach. And I said to myself back then that I'll see what happens, and if my clients get benefit out of us working together, because it was a relatively new thing to do, relatively a new profession, so I didn't know whether it was going to work. So I said to myself, if my clients find it useful and get benefit out of our sessions, I'll carry on doing it, and if they don't, I'll stop and go back into my marketing and branding. So that's what I said to myself back in 2002, and here I am today in 2011 still doing it. So I'm assuming my clients are getting good, useful stuff out of it. Well, that's what they tell me anyway. So that's how I got into coaching, and the real thing that I get out of it is that I love working with people. We're all different. I'm naturally curious by nature, and I love understanding how people make decisions and how they can do things differently, and what needs to happen for that person to move forward. What's the bit that if you can just unlock, the person will take a jump forward in terms of their happiness and fulfillment and what they're getting out of life. And that's the bit I love doing. And everyone's unique. So even though I've been doing this now, you know, for over 10 years, and I've worked with hundreds of clients and done thousands of hours of coaching, it's still different. People are still coming up with, you know, I'm still finding people with different ways of thinking about things, and I truly get something out of that every day. And especially when the clients come back to you and say, look, you know, my life is very different to how it used to be now, and that's through coaching. So that's a fantastic thing to get out of your job. So really now, you know, although it is my job, I don't really see it as a job. I see coaching as just something I am, and I'm lucky enough to do a job that I really, really enjoy. And also I know it's got a lot of richness moving forward, so I don't think it's anything I get bored of, because human beings are too varied and diverse for that to happen.